Some Subarus get clowned for head gaskets and CVTs, but the truth is kinda wild once you dig into the numbers. A handful of these things are basically mountain goats in car form, running 250,000, 280,000, or even 300,000 miles with nothing more than regular oil changes and a little common sense. Hey guys, this is Scott from CarLandTV, and today we're diving into the Subarus that stay loyal, stay tough, and stay on the road way longer than anyone expects. But first, do me a quick favor. Tap that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. It ain't required, but those clicks keep this thing rolling and make it easier for me to keep dropping solid car content straight to your screen. Now, let's get back into it. Subaru Forester, 2010 to 2013, 2016 to 2018. When people ask me which Subaru is most likely to hit 300,000 without crying uncle, the Forester is usually at the top of my list. Not every year is a winner, but the right generations have a habit of clearing 200,000 miles with the original engine and transmission still in play. IC cars had the Forester next to the Outback and Legacy on their longest-lasting vehicles list over 200,000 miles, built from millions of real-world odometer readings, so this is data. With normal mileage and basic upkeep, that kind of usage lines you up for 250,000 to 300,000 miles. The Foresters that age best are the simple, non-turbo 2.5 seconds with consistent maintenance. Early EJ25s can rack up big miles, but they are more likely to need head gaskets, so I lean toward later FB25 models after Subaru updated the piston ring design and oil consumption bulletins. Heck, even Consumer Reports and owner surveys show strong reliability for mid-2010 seconds. Foresters and Subaru as a brand is near the top of recent reliability rankings. Where people get burned is treating these like no-maintenance appliances. The folks who roll to 250,000, 280,000, 300,000 on a Forester are the ones changing oil on time, checking levels, and servicing the CVT instead of pretending the fluid lasts forever. Keep the cooling system healthy, stay ahead of leaks and suspension wear, and do services before something fails. You handle those basics, and a Forester will keep showing up for work, winter after winter. Subaru Outback, 2013 to 2019. Outback owners quietly stack miles like it is their side hustle, and the data backs that up. Anytime I dig through high-mileage listings or reliability studies, the 2.5-liter Outback keeps popping up past 200,000, 250,000, even flirting with 300,000 miles when someone actually maintained it. The layout helps a lot. Long wheelbase, wagon body, and a ton of highway use means less stop-and-go abuse and fewer heat cycles than a pure city car. For years, the sweet spot I like to target is the 5th gen, roughly 2015 to 2019. With the non-turbo 2.5 FB engine. By this point, Subaru had moved past most of the old EJ25 head gasket drama and was on the updated timing chain design. The later TR690 CVT in these years is also more sorted than the early 2010-2012 units that had more failure stories. It is still a CVT, so it hates neglect, but in fleets and normal family use, it has proven it can go long when the fluid is serviced on time. The common theme I see on Outbacks that hit crazy mileage is boring, consistent maintenance. Oil changes are done on time with the correct viscosity, coolant and brake fluid are actually flushed, and CVT fluid is changed somewhere around 60 kelvins to 90 kelvins instead of pretending it lasts forever. Suspension wear parts like control arms, bushings, and struts always show up after 150 kelvins or so, but that is age, not a design flaw. People who stay ahead of that stuff keep the car tight and avoid beating up the rest of the chassis. If the goal is a 250,000 to 300,000 Outback with no major engine teardown, the play is simple. Pick a clean 2.5-liter, skip the heavy towing, keep it on quality fluids, and fix small leaks early. You treat an Outback that way, and it will pay you back in miles. Subaru Legacy, 2013 to 2018. Legacy owners are low-key winning in this 300,000-mile game. When I look at long-term reliability stuff, the Legacy keeps showing up right next to the Outback and Forester in those most likely to hit 200,000 miles or more lists, because it is basically the same drivetrain without the lifted wagon body abuse. The 2013 to 2019 range with the 2.5-liter engine is where I start looking first, since that lines up with Subaru getting away from the older EJ head gasket era and leaning into the FB series with a timing chain and better cooling design. That setup, driven by normal humans, is easily a 250,000-mile to 300,000-mile powertrain if you stay on top of fluids and leaks. What helps the Legacy is how it is actually used in the real world. A lot of these cars live their lives doing steady highway miles, commuter duty, Uber, and family runs. Less gravel road pounding, less towing, less roof box drag. Same Subaru all-wheel drive hardware, but the workload is lighter, and that matters long-term. The CVT in these years, especially the TR690 behind the 2.5, has a solid track record when you treat the fluid like a service item instead of magic juice. Shops that see these high-mileage cars all say the same thing. The failures are usually neglect, overheating, or zero maintenance history. The 2013 to 2019 range with the 2.5-liter engine is where I start looking first, since that lines up with Subaru getting away from the older EJ head gasket era and leaning into the FB series with a timing chain and better cooling design. That setup, driven by normal humans, is easily a 250,000-mile to 300,000-mile powertrain if you stay on top of fluids and leaks. If the goal is a 250,000 to 300,000 Outback with no major engine teardown, the play is simple. Pick a clean 2.5-liter, skip the heavy towing, keep it on quality fluids, and fix small leaks early. You treat an Outback that way, and it will pay you back in miles. IC Cars puts the Crosstrek's average lifespan at a little over 165,000 miles, with about a 24% chance of hitting 200,000 miles, which is already above the average car. Some Subaru dealers and reliability write-ups peg a realistic range of 150 to 200,000 miles on basic maintenance, and that is before you factor in the people who actually over-maintain their stuff. Consumer Reports has recommended the Crosstrek in recent years, and Subaru as a brand has been sitting right at the top of reliability rankings, which tells me the platform is solid. From a mechanical standpoint, the Crosstrek is not trying to be exotic. You are getting a naturally aspirated flat 4, either the 2-liter FB20 or the 2.5-liter FB25, paired to a CVT, with standard all-wheel drive and up to about 9.3 inches of ground clearance. The FB20 had known oil consumption drama in early 2010 seconds applications, mostly tied to piston ring design. But those issues were largely addressed by mid-decade, before the second-gen Crosstrek really took off. Output is modest, so the engine is not getting hammered with big torque, and the car itself is relatively light for an SUV, which cuts stress on brakes, suspension, and drivetrain. On the 300,000-mile conversation, I look at it like this. The averages say most Crosstreks will retire earlier, but high-mileage owner threads and techs keep reporting 200,000-plus examples that are still on original engines and CVTs, with nothing but routine service. The ones that make a serious run at 250,000 to 300,000 miles all follow the same script. Oil changes are done on time, oil level watches between services, CVT fluid changed in the 60 to 90 kelvins window, coolant and brake fluid refreshed, and leaks at cam carriers or valve covers fixed early. You stay on top of that checklist, and a Crosstrek becomes a very realistic long-haul rig. Subaru Impreza, 2012 to 2016, 2018 to 2022. Impreza people usually are not flexing in the comments. They are just quietly stacking miles, and that is exactly why I pay attention to this car. Same Subaru DNA as the Crosstrek, but lower ride height, less weight, and a lot of highway commuting instead of constant rough road abuse. IC Cars has the Impreza showing solid odds of hitting 200 kelvins, and Subaru as a brand has been ranking near the top of long-term reliability studies from outfits like Consumer Reports and JD. Power. So the platform is not some gamble. The generations I like for long-term play are the FB20-powered cars from around 2012 onward, especially the ones that have clean service records. Early FB engines had some oil consumption complaints tied to piston ring design, but Subaru issued technical service bulletins and updated parts, and the later cars are way more stable when you use the right oil and actually check the level. The timing chain setup means no big belt job every 100,000 miles, and power output is low enough that you are not punishing the internals every time you merge. From real-world cars I have seen and the owner forums I stalk, the Imprezas that make a serious shot at 250,000 to 300,000 miles all have boring maintenance stories. Oil changes on time, CVT fluid done in that 60 to 90,000 mile window, coolant and brake fluid kept fresh, and any seepage at cam carriers or valve covers fixed before it turns into a nasty leak. Suspension parts like bushings and struts will need love past 150 kelvins, but that is just age. You treat an Impreza like that, it turns into a cheap-to-run, long-haul daily that just keeps clocking miles. Bet. Subaru WRX 26 20 Catters A. Vero Common Seam 5 Seam A. Vero Common Seam 5 Sev, well-maintained only. WRX is the wild card in this whole 300,000-mile talk. This car lives a hard life most of the time. It is turbo, it is fast, and a lot of them get tuned, launched, and bounced off redline by every owner in the Carfax history. Even with that abuse, there are stock or lightly modded EJ25 WRXs in the wild with 200,000, 250,000, even around 300,000 miles, still running original long blocks when the maintenance and driving have been sane. High-mileage threads are full of people reporting 180,000 to 230,000 mile plus on original EJ engines, and a few OGs are sitting near that 250 kelvins to 300 kelvins mark with nothing more than wear items and a timing belt job. For me, the way to think about a WRX hitting 300 kelvins is pretty simple. If it is bone stock or close to it, has a legit service history, and compression is good, the EJ25 is capable. These motors usually fail from detonation, bad tuning, low oil, or constant abuse, not because the block is made of glass. Subaru guys who track or daily these cars reliably will tell you the same pattern. Quality synthetic oil changed often, warm up and cool down respected, and no junk tune on a cheap handheld map. Timing belt, water pump, and idlers done around 100 kelvins and again before 200 kelvins keep the top end alive. So if I am hunting a WRX to run long-term, I am buying the most boring example I can find. Stock exhaust, no blow-off valve, no massive turbo, clean Carfax, adult owner, and all the receipts. Treated that way, a WRX can absolutely be a 200,000 to 300,000 mile toy instead of a 120,000 mile grenade, no cap.